Oh, look at this.
Well, McConnell steps down as senator leader.
Yeah, yeah.
Whoa.
After the election.
After. Oh, I thought he was doing it now.
No, they
No.
only have a slim majority. They can't go now.
That's I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Or why is he doing what he's doing? Jingle.
After the election.
Of course.
Where am I?
Since 2010, Wise Home Energy has been fixing uncomfortable homes. We offer home assessments,
We're going live.
whole climate heat pumps to fix your home for good. Fix your
Damn, gotta go live, Jose.
Change the world.
today.
I can't
Said
believe
that
how
in a
many.
long time.
I can't believe how many conspiracy
Here we
theories I
go.
pulled up in just the past like month.
Oh, there's one every week, right?
Feels like it. We are back. We are back. Let me start this off real quick by saying, Lavelle, not everything is a conspiracy theory, okay? So you don't have to look into everything and say, oh, this is a conspiracy theory. This is a false flag, this and the other. But there's been a number of issues that's popped up in the past, I would say, month that seems to, give credence to the fact that people are questioning everything. Let's start by saying, I'm going to say, solar flares my backside. All right, this AT&T incident has the FCC, has the Department of Homeland Security, and it has the FBI investigating it. Why? States. We actually had two different solar flares separated by a few hours. This is a meteorologist, right, in Oklahoma, and they looked into it before everything started coming out, everything like that. Said we actually had two different solar flares separated by a few hours, and they were both X-class solar flares, which are quite powerful. Absolutely, quite powerful. X-class solar flares are the strongest, but some are much stronger than others. One way to measure them is on a scale of 0 to 20. Wednesday's flares of last week were between a 1 and a 2. Even though those can cause issues, it usually takes something stronger. Now, so we got the concept of, all right, how strong was the solar flare? He's saying on a scale of 0 to 20, this is between a 1 and a 2. All right. Now let's talk about the timing of the solar flare.
Mm-hmm.
States. The United States was facing away from the sun in the middle of the night that night, on Tuesday night, into Wednesday morning. Of course, when the solar flare reached the Earth. So a lot of the radio blackouts happened over the opposite side of the Earth, near India, Australia, Eastern Africa. So did the solar flares cause cell phone disruptions? The answer is most likely no. Again, this is the meteorologist talking from the TV show, stating they seem to be disconnected and not really related to one another. It seems to mostly be just sort of a coincidence of timing. If this science is true, and we have the FCC, Department of Homeland Security, and FBI looking into it after they said it was a solar flare, mind you, again, then what is the actual truth? Because those three-letter agencies don't look into things just because it's a solar flare. They don't investigate solar flares.
Yeah. And they kind of know stuff before it actually happens anyway. So, I mean, how often does our FBI and CIA and all these other federal agencies get caught their pants down on certain things?
Seems to be far too often.
Far too
At
often.
least, maybe it's just, the emergence of, social media. Maybe we just see it more often because people are, talking about it more often. But looking back, how many more incidences can we look at and be like, well, was that the truth?
Well, we're used to them just classifying anything that the public will question as a conspiracy anyway. So it puts us on the defense of, well, we don't know what's fact or fiction when it comes to our government when they tell us something. So For this particular situation, I'm going to say, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say it's not a conspiracy. I just think that someone's lying, and it seems as though it is the people who AT&T, the people who's in charge of our network, who's in charge of our grid, our power grid. For years, people have been talking about how vulnerable our grid has been, right, and how weak it is, and how we could possibly that could be a way for one of our enemies to attack us.
A very good way for them to do it.
So these aren't conspiracy theories. Like, these are questions people have been asking and talking about off the mainstream,
but
for a while.
On the Instagram page, I have people who actually are very smart, intellectual people who responded saying, "Look, not everything's a conspiracy theory." And I'm like, "Come on!"
They always do that, but they're the ones that say just the same people that got us hook, line, and sunk with COVID, with everything that came with that, or tried to, because the people who have some sense, like, yo, no, that just doesn't make any sense to me. If it doesn't make sense, it's okay. Why is it such a hard thing for people to like accept that if something doesn't make sense to me, I'm just going to keep asking questions and follow-up questions until it makes sense.
Right. And you should have the answers. If you automatically know, look, this is, they tell you that's disinformation, that the scientists already came out with it, yada, yada. Okay. Well, there's been, don't even give them statements anymore. So this is a way to fight the far left, or any radical, really. Whether it's far left or far
you can't even say far left. Anybody that's in government, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter the party line. If there's a lie that needs to be told, they're going to tell that lie.
Well, here's the thing. It's, why can't I ask questions? Because if we were to sit here and say, the science, the science has proven, okay, well, were there times in the past when we believed the science was proven and come to find out it wasn't? Yes, there has been. Okay, so has there been times in the past when every single scientist said, all agreed on one thing, and one scientist said, I don't agree with this, and ended up following up and saying, you know what? The earth isn't flat.
Well,
for example, or no, the sun does not revolve around the earth. For example, there are instances in our, I already see your face of the, I'm going to guess that's a flat earth.
No, that's not even with the flat earth. It's honestly, it's about how, just going back when the greatest scientists of that time, the Einsteins of that generation, they all had their own theory about just everything within the relativity of the universe. Everybody had their own theory, and they all challenged each other. So just going back to just that point in time in our history, it was allowed. Like, those men would not be considered geniuses if they didn't have the ability to question each other.
Well, that's the Socratic method. Socrates championed the ability to speak up and question your leaders, or those who you say are our
unless
leaders.
You're just one of the peasants.
Well, that's not what Socrates is about. He wants anybody to speak up and say, you got questions, ask it. You got a stance, say it.
Socrates, I'm talking about the people today. We're the peasants.
Yeah, I'm not a peasant. They think that I'm a peasant, but that's the thing. It's like, that's my biggest issue, specifically what I've seen concerning, from COVID and stuff like that, where, okay, you disagree. Why? Why, Jose, do you disagree that this rollout is just far too fast and that we should do a little more studies?
Yeah.
Why is it that you won't take the vaccine? And when I told them, well, they're talking about herd immunity, right? So if 50% of the U.S. population gets the vaccine, and then 40% of the U.S. population already had COVID, then the herd immunity is there, right? So why would I have to take it if I already had COVID? Right. So those types of questions, they just never had answers to. They would always just demonize me, and it's always funny. There's like, I would say probably 2 or 3 guys that will randomly pop up and talk junk about our one radio show that went viral because of what somebody had to say. Right. And he's like, you let someone talk about your coworker, but I'm like, that's not my coworker.
First of all, who are they to say you let? Like, what were you going to do?
Right.
What were you gonna do? Well, no, don't say that. That is just wrong, and you should not say or joke around on this show. This is not supposed to happen. That's what they wanted.
And on top of that, when I said, well, we truly believe in First Amendment rights, and I definitely support it, and I will allow him to say whatever it is that he wants to say.
Yeah,
and if you want to hold him accountable for what he said, go right ahead. And people are like, no, you have to step up. I'm like, see, this is the thing. This is what I know you guys want to push forward, and that is that you can hold anybody who's even an acquaintance of that person accountable to that person. Are you okay with that? No, most people are not. No, if my friend over here says something on a hot mic saying that he can grab a girl by the PUSSY, why would I be held accountable for what that person said?
I'm gonna ask you this question: what color were they?
Oh, most of them are white, but this particular person is black.
Okay, so I want to say that. So they wanted you to put that little black boy in his place, right? Because how dare he?
That's essentially what I was saying.
I think this is one of the most uneasy thing for white liberals is the fact that a black man can say or speak his mind. It's been going on for quite some time. You say, if I say something, it's used against me as like it's the most egregious thing ever.
Right.
But if it was the other way around,
we're gonna start calling them the awfuls. Those
Yeah.
are the affluent or angry white female liberals. Awfuls.
And I've never used a race card either.
I'm gonna go ahead and
I'm
use
gonna
it.
use it right there.
That's right. Lavelle Lewis and myself, the Jose Pio with DJ Bob, Dr. Bob over here. 346-3000 is the number to call in. We've talked about these solar flares. If you want to call in about that, give us a call. We're going to jump into another conspiracy theory, though, right after this break.
That ain't right. Yeah, that was fun. Fun times. Did not know how that came out, but
Well, it's funny because I got a guy from the city council. He works for city council, and he worked for Mayor Lovely Warren before. He's behind the scenes politically. He used to be a Republican, then he turned gay and become a full-on liberal. And
turned gay.
Yeah.
He
And
was always gay.
I don't know if he turned gay. Yeah.
He was always gay.
But I think he was married before.
He was always gay.
Maybe.
He was just lying. I don't know.
Some guy. I won't release names.
Oh, okay.
But he called me. He's like, "Can I give you some advice, Jose, for how you're handling this?" I'm like, "Give me advice for how I'm handling it. I'm letting it be." He's like, "Yeah, you're pushing the First Amendment, and that's not.
Wow.
That's not gonna be." Well, I'm like, "Look, I'm always gonna be a First Amendment staunch supporter. I'm like, I can't sit here and say that I'm going to be held accountable for what somebody else says. That just makes no sense to me."
We're out here with that, bro.
Yeah.
It's not happening. It's not happening. And honestly, the context of everything was
From Nozzle, Michael Warren Thomas is on XXI this hour.
we weren't even like
Just saying,
being
can
serious.
hear
at all.
your conversation on the live feed,
Oh yeah.
so they can hear us.
I don't know.
That's what he typed yawn.
Sorry, I'll be calling on that mic. Hot mic, I don't care.
Hot mic. Makes good radio.
I think he's on Evan Dawson's Snooze-A-Rama.
Oh, it is a sneeze hour. I got a credit on that show one time though. Post the
Real.
riots.
All right, we are back with the next topic for our conspiracy theory episode here with Lavelle Lewis, the Jose Pio, and Dr. DJ Bob.
It's chilling.
And screening your calls in the control room, Bobby D.
Bobby D.
Bobby D. Yeah, say it with the D. There we go. So this was something I was kind of mocking online until I took a second to look at it and look into it. And that was that idiot that set himself on fire protesting the Gaza-Israel war. Right. So for many of you out there who saw that and thought the same thing as me, like, what the hell? What's wrong with the radicals here? That's quite the statement.
Quite the statement.
And I said, man, it would take quite a bit for someone to just set themselves on fire. So maybe let's see if there's a little bit more to this. Now, this is what the New York Post reports. All right. So U.S. Airman Aaron Bushnell, or Aaron, sets himself on fire outside of the Israeli embassy in Washington, D.C. New York Post reports that the night before, he called his friend. And here's what his friend stated about the conversation. He stated, his actual job involves the processing of intelligence data. Some of what he was processing had to do with the Israeli-Gaza conflict. One of the things he told me is that coming across his desk was the U.S. military was involved in the genocides going on in Palestine. The friend said, he told me that we had troops on the ground, that were there and were killing large numbers of Palestinians. There's just too many things I don't know, but I can tell you that the tone of his voice just had something in it that told me he was scared. But he said, I've never heard that tone come out of him. So although Bushnell claimed he was imparting top secret information to his pal, obviously there's no way of verifying if that is true. But that got me thinking, maybe that is enough for someone to just catch themselves on fire and say, pay attention to what I'm saying here.
Well, we're hearing a little more about a ceasefire right now. I really don't know if this actually works. But it's ironic. I think I saw one of the video, and there's, I guess, one attempt to put him out while the other one had a gun on him. Just to
Yes.
make sure. Like, I don't know what was that for.
Because you're in front of an embassy starting a fire.
Yeah, but he's in, what he thought he was Palestinian, or?
Well, in that case, you can have explosives on you, and maybe you're catching yourself on fire to
Just pop him.
pop them.
Pop him.
You don't know what it is, so it seems like it's an attack.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think police officers are carrying around fire extinguishers with them, at least DC police or embassy police.
Mm-hmm.
Usually a fire extinguisher is inside of some kind of building.
Right.
And there was a building, but it was very far away. It was behind a gate. And in order to get there, you have to give up your post. So you don't know if it's something to catch your attention so that someone else can do something over here.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know if it's a way to set yourself on fire to become a human bomb. You don't know what is actually happening. So someone has to keep an eye on that person to make sure this isn't going crazy. And to me, if you want to set yourself on fire, have at it.
It definitely raised the eyebrows in a national, global way. I mean, it's extreme. It is extreme.
That is very extreme.
It is very extreme. But
And what do you think God's going to say to you?
Don't even bring God in this, because if God was watching, the genocide would not be going the way it's going. This is what I'm going to say.
Go ahead.
You have one side that's literally using religion to manipulate a mass group of people to support what they're doing, their own occupation. And within this group, they're also using their own historical connection to a genocide within the Holocaust to justify what it is that they're doing to a group of people. There's so many different stories and reasons why the Palestinians didn't agree with a ceasefire, or the Israelis didn't agree to a ceasefire. You got Hillary Clinton on video saying that back when Bill Clinton was in office, the Palestinians turned down a ceasefire. They could have, a peace deal. They could have had a settlement deal for 20 years now, but now on the left, they're pro-Palestine, and there's so many different lies and nonsense is going on within the situation. My question is, will the United States government ever hold Israel accountable? No, because part of our military industrial complex, part of the money that we're making off of Ukraine, we're making that same amount of money off Israel by selling them the very bombs that are killing, civilians, or plowing through these civilians to get to Hamas, like Kid Rock said recently on Joe Rogan.
So this is something I need to make sure that everyone is aware of. We don't we don't manufacture weapons to then send to other countries. What we do is, from the military perspective, from the inside here, we give away our old equipment, equipment that is aging out, software that's aging out, systems that are aging out, and say, here you go, here's our investment to you. What that does is that frees up the equipment that now needs to be manufactured, and so the large corporations that are in the military industrial complex now get contracts to replenish those weapons here in the United States. So when they say, well, we should fund them because whether it's Ukraine or Israel, because all that money is going right back into the manufacturing here in the United States. That's kind of you're misdirecting the answer there. That yes, it is, but that's going to replenish our weapons.
We're still getting paid for it.
Right.
We're still getting paid.
We're not getting paid.
Oh, we are getting paid off of this whole situation. It's all part of our economy. Lockheed Martin, all of the big time corporations, we're getting paid off.
What I mean by we, I mean the taxpayer.
Oh,
we're not getting paid.
We're not getting paid.
Right.
I'm talking about the power that be that are manipulating this whole situation.
But do you think that this intel is correct? That we have soldiers who are fighting in the actual front lines, and they use the word genocide. So we're going to go ahead and use that word, and are participating in the genocide of Palestinians. Do you believe that?
I wouldn't put it past this. I wouldn't put it past anything that's going on in that region, because this isn't. I mean, this is one conflict, but the Middle East has been at war for God knows how long. What about we don't talk about Syria anymore. We don't talk about Libya anymore. We don't talk about a lot of those other countries that we've been.
Iran, Saudi Arabia.
We've been at war for decades now.
What happened to Afghanistan? Are we still?
I don't even know. We're still there. I guess there's got to be some sort of.
Our weapons and equipment are still there.
Most of our military is overseas right now, and then back home, everybody's just infiltrating us from the rear end. Pause.
Yeah, think about that one. Yeah, so this to me kind of screams maybe we should take a look at what this guy just did and the extremity in which he took in order to get that information out. Because people can say, well, he didn't have to set himself on fire. He didn't have to kill himself. I agree, he didn't. But then we got Julian Assange.
Yeah.
Should he have become another Julian Assange?
They can arrange it. It's not the first time that we've put a U.S. citizen in prison for God knows how long.
Right. Who wants to live that life? I mean, the guy's been away from our country for how many years at this point? All because he produced information, inside intel, about what was actually happening, what we were doing, the atrocities that we were doing. This guy comes up. Let's just take what he said or what his friend said in the conversation at point blank. That's what he said. This kid, very young kid, he had to have known, if he's in military intelligence, he had to know that if he came out with this information and told his friend, he's in trouble. He's going to be either taken out or he's going to be a political prisoner for the rest of his life. And I say political prisoner because this is giving out inside intel saying that we have military guys on the front lines in Gaza. That's not what our Congress said we were doing.
Well, what about
that's not what our president said we were doing.
What about the contracts, the contractors, those types of the former military personnel?
Yeah, the black ops.
Yeah. So what about those? And they could be running amok around there also.
Well, that's usually how they get around it.
Yeah.
Is they utilize these contractors who will go do the dirty work. And I understand, but the thing is that people need to also understand. We literally take C-130s filled with pallets of cash to these countries to pay leaders off. Cash, physical cash. So when we say that there's a ton of money missing from the military budget, that is part of it. Part of it. The other part of it is the black ops. Why is this money going towards, the fight in Afghanistan when we're no longer there? Well, you ask too many questions and you're going to find out.
Yeah. I just saw a video about that. A Republican senator was talking about that very thing you just said. the reason why some people won't say nothing because they know once they do, they might find themselves suicided with 4 gunshots.
Yeah, unalived.
Yeah, alive, yeah.
And then they'll claim that it's suicide. Well, how is it suicide when? But that's where we are in this country where we can't add, and that's to go along with the first statement that we discussed, the first conspiracy theory as well, or allegation, should I say? When we stop asking questions, when we stop searching for truth, that's when we go downhill. That's when the truth dies, is when it's in darkness. You got to bring truth to light. And you do that by asking the questions and having types of conversations that we here on the Politically Correcting radio show have at the WYSL radio station. We are truly blessed to be able to do this. So appreciate it. Anyone out there, 346-3000 is the number to call. If you have some insights or you want to, express your own opinion on what we're talking about here, give us a call.
So you boys have any interest in my shooting a little public service announcement out here? Have you heard about this, the Associated Press?
Mm-mm.
The Associated Press, lefties that they are, has unleashed all these bots. They're going through all kinds of personal and corporate websites, and they're looking for unauthorized use of any images that were published by the Associated Press. And they have teamed up with a law firm in Toronto, which is sending out manned letters to people. So let's say, for example, you got some websites where you went to a Taylor Swift concert. And so you figure you'll spice up your posts a little bit by you go and you download some images of Taylor Swift and you put them on your posts or whatever.
Right.
You get a letter from this law firm saying, no, unauthorized use. This is a demand letter for $5,000.
Mm.
And I think that they put this, and it is legit. I can send you the links on the whole thing. So you want to be really careful about the use of images in websites and social media posts.
That's crazy.
They've gone after the station over in Warsaw.
Really?
Country station, because they got some country artists and they just posted on for their website.
Wow. I don't know if you saw, but
that's insane.
The thumbnails I've been using for our podcast on YouTube and Facebook. Well, not Facebook, but just the YouTube thumbnail. I just go to AI and have it create the thumbnail that I want it to create.
Yeah, well,
at that point,
that ain't me. I don't think we have any images on our site.
That's sick.
Oh yeah, there was somebody. $11,000.
Yeah.
You can talk to these people. You can negotiate it down.
They ain't getting a dime out of me. Good luck.
Right.
Good luck.
Judgment proof.
Let's see, where's the like I had them create that, even though it looks like it's just a recreation of what was already out there.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Move from bench after.
You were saying sexual assault reported? Why? Yo, this is weird.
That one.
Oh yeah, I saw it.
So I just going to have AI create it. That way I don't have any kind of.
Sick.
I'm trying to think about shirts to make for the eclipse that we're gonna have in Charlotte.
Yeah,
Shut up.
that would suck. Like that would be so typical Rochester, right?
That would be terrible.
It would
One
be
day that
typical Rochester.
Allegedly supposed to be like 1 million people coming in town.
That would be typical Rochester.
Unfortunately, you're right. Unfortunately, right.
I come all the way from California to see clouds. Oh man,
That's mine.
Yo, what up? What up, cousin?
He's coughing up in his big.
Yeah, man. I hear it in yours.
Uh-huh.
I'm starting talking. It's crazy.
But it's the same thing. I don't have any.
No,
I was like, "How you feeling?" I hear you coughing. I'm like, "Feel fine."
I feel fine. It's allergies, yo. Somebody's
And she's
sick.
like, "Yeah, that's what everyone says." I'm like, "I don't have a fever.
Bro,
It doesn't hurt to cough. It just freaking cough."
cough.
Don't understand? I
This
get
ain't
every year.
normal weather. Yo, all of February, we had like maybe 1 or 2 days of snow.
Whenever it gets warm like this, out of nowhere is when it kicks in.
And also, a lot of people don't realize there's a lot of pollen coming out of trees, too.
So,
Okay, well,
Yeah. Because they're dead. They release pollen. These trees be, and plus with it being windy, so you getting stuff from all other areas. I forgot what type of pollen weed or whatever it's called.
All Seasons Wine and Spirits, your local and locally owned store.
Last spot.
last spot.
Okay.
No sales events
Bobby
necessary.
D.
All Seasons Wines and Spirits voted best in Livingston County. 255
Now they can hear us.
Dependable Disposal offers weekly residential trash and recycled tote
On
service.
Facebook?
On YouTube, they can hear us.
Oh, on YouTube.
You know, call Dependable Disposal 585.
Yeah, that's Bob right there.
All right, we are back to Talk That Talk. Lavelle Lewis, myself, the Jose Pio, and I'm gonna just keep calling DJ Bob.
That's fine.
DJ Dr. Bob here on the ones and twos.
Want me to do a quick PSA here?
Go ahead.
Let the folks know. All right, heads up, everybody. The Associated Press, everybody's favorite left-wing wire service, and they're really the only one that's left, at least in the United States, has teamed up. This is a warning. Teamed up with a law firm in Toronto, Canada. This has been checked out. It is legit. It sounds like a scam because, really, in a sense, it kind of is a scam. But what they're doing is they're populating the web with bots, and they are scouring personal websites, company websites, and we happen to know this has affected a number of radio stations who have used Associated Press images, perhaps innocently, without really realizing that they were doing it. And they are sending out demand letters to people. So let's say, you go to a Taylor Swift concert and you go to Google Images and you download some images and you put them in your posts or on a personal website or whatever. You get a letter from Posts Canada demanding the payment of royalties in the amount of, can be several $1,000s. So you want to check and make sure that you're not using any AP copyrighted material in your websites or in your social media because you may get a knock on the door. There's no way to hide from this whole thing because it's all being done by bots.
Well, speaking of no way to hide from this thing, let's go back to the acronym AWFUL, the Affluent or Angry White Female Liberals. They are
The gift that keeps on giving.
yes. Are they the only ones taking children to drag shows? Before you answer, we got Keith on the line.
Think about
Keith,
that.
Keith, what do you got for us, brother?
Does that sound like genocide though? Well, Keith, doesn't that sound like genocide
It
then?
sounds exactly like genocide.
It sounds like that's what you're describing. No,
You said you were going to kill them all.
Yeah,
All Palestinians. That's actually Holocaust.
That's along the same lines of what they did in Nazi Germany.
Even dogs getting mad at you, Keith.
That's the point that we're trying to. That's the point we're trying to make. And let me ask you this: where are you getting the information of where the victims in this whole thing is? The Israeli soldiers, the Israeli people. Where are you getting that intel from? Right, it's long known, but where did it come from? Who's responsible for pushing out that information? Well, I'll tell you what. Hold on, Keith. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you where I get a lot of my information.
Oh, hold on. Let me jump
real quick. Hold on.
Why do that to
for
fight
the
the war?
on the Israeli side? I get the information from their leader themselves, Bibi Benjamin Netanyahu, and he says exactly everything that you said, right? Everything. But he's also the same guy that came to the United States before 9/11, warned us what was going to happen to us, and it actually did. He was right, right? So he's been that mouthpiece of propaganda for so long. He's also that mouthpiece that said that we had weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, which they didn't. He's the one that's been saber rattling this whole time of how bad and how evil everybody is around Israel. But yet, when we go back and we look into information, and also within that very region of Israel, off of their own newspapers themselves, they don't like Benjamin Netanyahu for the simple fact that he's a liar. Somewhat. Never. Never.
Well, let me jump in on this because I'm by far, you two can go at it all day. Me, I've never defended either side. I don't care for either side. I just don't care. The only thing I've ever said was it's my tax money. I think I deserve that it be invested in my quality of life. I don't care what's going on in Israel and Palestine. I just don't. Sorry. Anyone out there that gets mad about
care
that?
About innocent lives getting lost.
But
and just like Donald Trump said, I don't want anybody to die.
But
I don't want people to die.
Why is Israel going door to door? Tell me that. Why? To get at the bad guys. Right. So once they see somebody, how do they determine that's a bad guy? Come on, Keith. Come on, Keith. Come on, Keith. It sounds like what you're saying is if they kick in the door and they see a man of fighting age, that they should be able to shoot them. That's what it sounds like. I don't want to live with either one of them. I don't want to be involved with this. I simply want my tax money going back to my family. I actually don't even want the government to take my tax money. I want to keep it. That's all I'm saying. Yes. Right. But you equated me saying that I am anti-Israel. Stop it, Keith. Stop it. You can't say things like that and have nothing to defend that.
What is wrong with criticizing the government though? Like we criticize our own government. It's okay for me to bash Biden all day, but I can't bash the Israeli government and their way of handling this conflict. Yeah, we invaded Iraq and did the same thing to Iraqis over there. We also allowed the Israeli government to bomb us when they bombed us with the USS Liberty. No harm, no foul. Even though they knew that we were waving a white flag and saying, "Hey, we're friendly," but they did it anyway.
We got to jump to a break. Sorry, Dan. We're going to be right back with you when we come back. Keith, thank you so much for calling. Dan, we're going to jump right back in. But just to let everybody know, there are countries out there that hate America. That does not mean that we need to go door to door and shoot their men and fathers and
Clear 'em
brothers.
out.
That's all I'm saying. We'll be right back with the politically correct voice here at the WYSL radio station. That's actually the first time that there's been a full dialogue between Keith and us. Usually it's a quick conversation.
Let's take Dan in there.
Dan's the Israeli guy. He
Dan
left.
Rockwell, right?
He left.
No, he's not.
Oh,
We just it's better if he when we get a call stacked up, we have to alternate. So he'll have one call, then I'll have one call. And in here, they don't get the full program. They don't get the breaks and everything. So it's better if possible for them to be in that room.
okay.
But since Keith hung up, now we can put him in there.
Yeah, you're welcome. Hey, by the way, they kind of reminded me a little of Alan Combs. How Keith was ranting. They were like chiming in, kind of low. Remember how Alan
Oh my
Combs?
God! I gotta tell you, I missed Paul. He was freaking hilarious.
They were old college buddies. But Alan Combs, I don't know if you ever listened to him. He'd let people talk, and kind of like Mystery Science Theater, he'd talk kind of at a lower volume, like mocking them out while they're ranting. Oh, he was such a good entertainer. He was a good guy.
Right.
But he was wrong about everything.
But he said it with confidence.
These people would come on his show, and he would let them say whatever they wanted to. All I had to do was give their name and the city.
Wow.
Yeah.
City from Chicago, and they just spew some.
It's like Jesse
You gotta open up
Peterson.
Keith.
Jesse Z. Peters. What's his name? The black guy, the black Republican guy that caused all the other guys to
Oh yes, he's funny. He's the best. He's funny as heck.
Talkback's working fine now, by the way.
We couldn't even get into the taking children to drag shows.
Oh, we will.
Okay, here comes some real Israel bashing.
Yo, yeah.
Here we go.
He's gonna send.
Oh dear God. Hey, Lorraine, stand by.
Everybody's calling. Get to these callers.
Freaking Lorraine.
Lorraine from I know that. The other radio show. Radio
Callers
station.
of the show. For the callers.
Back with myself, the Jose Pio Lavelle Lewis, and DJ Dr. Bob, and Bobby D in the back. Speaking of D, we got Dan on the line. Dan, thank you so much for holding, brother.
Hey, what's up, Dan? You heard all of that, huh? Mm-hmm. Ooh.
We need that in America.
Yeah.
We need that in America. We need to get these young bucks in the military for a 2-year service or something, so they can learn something.
Well, Dan, let me ask you, because from our previous caller, A lot of people won't see that as a problem. I think a lot of folks who support Israel kind of blur the lines between what it means for the United States to be specifically designed to do what's best for the American people versus an ally, which they use as this excuse for everything. The dual citizen issue and just the amount of numbers that you're kind of dropping to us as far as the dual citizenship. Why is that a problem for the United States? Mm.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Dan. Thank you so much for giving us a call and give us that insight because you're absolutely right. We also have Lorraine on the line here too. Lorraine, how are you? Good. What do you got for us? Have at it.
What? Let me ask you, Lorraine. Did you hear when Donald Trump had a press conference with Netanyahu, and he spoke about how he felt the Palestinians wanted a deal, but Netanyahu did not want a deal? Why wouldn't Benjamin Netanyahu want a peace deal or a settlement deal with the Palestinian people? So let me ask you. So you're aware though that the United States had a hand and Israel had a hand in creating Hamas, right? Yeah, I would go back and look into see how Hamas was created and why they were supported by the Israeli government from the very beginning. Well, it does matter because it happened in all the other parts of that region where just like the Taliban, the United States uh, propped up the Taliban to counter the Soviets back when they were in um, Afghanistan. And look at what we received when we did that. So we help prop up these organizations or these terrorist groups like ISIS. That's another one that the United States had a hand in, Al Qaeda as well. And then we wonder why they turn into these uncontrollable entities that continue to destabilize that region.
You did, Lorraine. Every time you pay your taxes.
Yeah, it is. Israel, but again, it just goes back for me. I focus on the hypocrisy of these governments and how they use and they manipulate the citizens, the population to point out an evil, right? Point out somebody that they want everyone to deem as the bad guy, the boogeyman, so that it helps their position or what it is that they know they want to do, the overall outcome. You create the problem, so you create the solution. That's what Hamas is right now.
No, I agree. We got some feedback here. Thank you so much, Lorraine, for calling in because that also shows you named kind of 3 or 4 different things here. The Charter of Hamas says to destroy Israel. They pretty much bomb them all year round, but Israel warns people beforehand before they kill them, which is admirable. I would say the Islamic fundamentalists. I'm having a hard time with my words today. Islamic fundamentalists also say death to America. Also bomb our drones. They bomb our ships. They bomb us. They get into our country illegally. They attack police, and they've told us that they are going to bring down America. So should we now destroy all Islamists? Right. So that's the only thing that we're kind of saying about the Palestinians. We're not saying that that Hamas is not a bad group. We're not saying that they're a terrible organization, nor are we defending them by any means.
And I hate the way Israel makes it seem like this war is so clean. Oh, we don't want to kill civilians, but yet you see videos upon videos of the Israeli people treating the Palestinians like crap. You don't see it the other way around.
I want to see, Lorraine, you can stay on the line if you'd like, but we appreciate your insight there. What I missed was during the Iraq War when they had actual reporters like in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
Remember back in the day when I was, back in the 90s, when we were at war with Saudi Arabia, and that was the first time that they had the war on 24/7 essentially on CNN. And I distinctly recall watching it and feeling like I was in the middle of that war. So why is it that it seems like, and this is just to me, I don't know how anyone else feels, but it seems like that if they are not showing it on TV, and I think we should see exactly what is going on over there. I think we should see exactly the atrocities that are happening, because maybe then we'll see the truth. And if we are wrong on this show about, and I don't think we're wrong about what we're saying. We're saying we don't want war, period. But if people are wrong that Israel is doing the right thing, or if people are wrong, Hamas is doing the wrong thing, I want to see it for myself. I want to see it personally on the news. That's just my. Absolutely. Thank you, Lorraine. It is crazy out there. Look at outside. So anyone out there that's driving,
what's happening in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
you heard kind of the background noise. It is torrential downpour. We might have to stay in Avon. If anyone has a room for us to stay out here, we might have to just stay here and drink some scotch.
You can play pinball.
There we go.
Yes, we can.
Well, thank you. We didn't get into 2 other topics we had because, as usual, the war topics kind of take over. But that's all right. We'll be back with another show on Monday, 1 p.m. with the Politically Correcting Boys here on WYSL. Thank you so much for doing this.
This is crazy. This is like a freaking monsoon. Man, they weren't kidding.
Yeah, they kept on sending alerts. Mm-hmm. I'm like, all right, windy, I get it. Like, I'm near it. I don't feel it.
That's why I had to run out and tell them to close up the transmitter room.
One thing, but he will protect Israel at all costs. He will. I don't understand why you guys don't